Okay, so I'm still outside after Hurricane Milton, and I wanted to continue with my tips for hurricane healthy marriages. And so I talked about my first tip being that you need to be kind to your spouse. You need to remember that in the midst of a storm, you're trying to protect your family, you're trying to protect those you love. And so don't take them for granted. Don't take out the brunt of your stress and your frustration on them. My second tip is to be thankful. Be thankful for what your spouse is doing to protect you, what you're, or help provide for your family. There were several things my husband did. So I've mentioned in some other videos, if you followed me, how my husband tends to struggle with procrastination. But I will tell you, when it comes to him getting ready to protect us, there is no procrastination around. He does exactly what he needs to do to protect us, whether it be us evacuating or whether it be, putting sandbags in places. We have a low-lying porch, so we had to put sandbags down to make sure it didn't flood. Of course, we brought in all our stuff from outside. We have actually a really high house, so I'll show you. So you see our house goes up above the road by a good, probably 60 feet. So we don't really have to worry about flooding from the street. We don't live near water or anything like that. But still, there's a lot of these you see these big trees in our neighbor's yard. There's a lot of big trees around and things that you have to be worried about. And we have hurricane windows as well. Another thing my husband did that I really appreciated was when we would go to watch hurricane coverage, he would get the most up-to-date forecast from the Weather Channel, but we weren't watching the Weather Channel because he astutely pointed out that they are all like, oh my goodness, we're all gonna die. And when you're already stressed and anxious, you don't really want to have that continual building up of anxiety happening. So we watched local stations, which were much better at keeping us calm and saying, hey, we've gone through this before. We know what to expect. It's okay. I even remember at one point, so we have a chimney, and the air hits inside the chimney, the wind gusts, and makes this vibrating, thrumming sound, almost like a big piece of sheet metal that you're hitting with a hammer. And that started happening at about 7 o'clock Wednesday night and didn't stop until about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we were sitting out all together in the family room watching coverage, and there's that constant banging, and I kept thinking, oh my goodness, our chimney's gonna pull off and we're gonna have water pouring down. Or at one point I went upstairs to a window that we have facing the front of the house. So this is the front of our house, and you can see there's some windows there, and I wanted to overlook the front of the street and see what was if there was water in the street. And I walked up and I put my hands on the window, and a couple wind gusts came by, and that window was bending, and they're rated for 150 mile an hour winds. So the fact that my husband chose to watch things that were not going to continue to make us anxious was something to be thankful about. So I did actually express my gratitude to him. I told him how much I really appreciated the fact that he takes the safety of our family and our home very seriously, and I appreciated that he chose wisely to limit the kind of exposure that we were having so that we wouldn't be more anxious than we already were. And he thanked me for what I did to help prepare for the storm. I cooked multiple meals in advance so we would have food. And then, of course, we had a generator. He had that all set up and ready to go, so I knew we wouldn't be losing the food I was cooking. But I spent a day and a half cooking, so we would have something to eat besides peanut butter and jelly if the power went out. And so be thankful. Be thankful for what each other is doing and express that gratitude. Don't just feel it, but express it. Again, your family's the reason why you're taking all these precautions, and so appreciate what they're doing to help. And the same thing with your kids, appreciate what they're doing to help.